Welcome to the Art Fence Project presented by Klatskanai Bloom. We are a nonprofit art organization aimed at promoting visual arts in our community. This project is funded by the Columbia County Cultural Coalition. We would like to thank them for promoting the visual arts in our county. The Art Fence Project will be a collaborative effort and includes 20 community members creating their own piece of the fence. Each participant will be given a fence panel, written instructions, a link to an instructional video, paint pens, a color wheel, and brushes. On each panel, there is a part of a word painted in the green. When the fence is installed, the combined panels will come together to reveal a mystery phrase. Please do not paint in the green area. The Art Fence Project will be based on intuitive or non-representational art. What is non-representational or intuitive art? Work that does not depict anything from the real world, such as figures, landscapes, animals, etc. It's called non-representational. Non-representational art may simply depict shapes, colors, lines, etc., but may also express things that are not visible, such as emotions or feelings. To help you get started with your masterpiece, we will talk about what makes up a piece of visual art, or in other words, the elements of art. These are the basic elements of art that you will need to consider: line, shape, color, space, and texture. All of these will come into play and will help you with expressing yourself and the feeling you want your piece to project. Because there will be green portions of the mystery phrase on your panel, you'll need to incorporate that into your design. Remember not to color in it or color over it. So let's talk about each art element and how you can use them to help create a design that will project your intended feeling. Let's start with line. Line is an element of art defined by a point moving in space. Line may be 2 or 3-dimensional, descriptive, implied, or abstract. That might sound complicated, so for our purposes, let's keep it simple. We can draw a line, or we can use a line to create a shape. Lines are useful in dividing space and drawing the eye to a specific location. So think about your placement of lines. Are they going to be curvy, straight, jagged, or will they create a shape? Two shapes of different color touching each other can actually create a line. So to start, you can draw some lines or shapes, your choice. Think about how the different lines make you feel. Jagged may show tension, while curvy may make you feel more relaxed.
Okay, well, I'm going to do an exercise that some people do, some designers do in the comic book industry, which is just kind of this free-form drawing, and it's sort of a way to relax your mind. And that seems to be a really appropriate way to do this abstract art too. It's like you're not trying to draw anything that formally looks like something that you see. You're just drawing for the sake of shape and flow and, you know,
something to pull out your emotion.
Exactly.
And it's a lot like doodling. You know, in school you would doodle, and a lot of the times the shapes would just kind of come out. Your patterns would come out, and you don't even know where they came from. So Tracy's going for some round, curved lines. And some people may want to do sharp, jagged lines. Just depends on what they're feeling that day and what they're trying to project.
Or you can put them together, maybe.
Yeah.
Some sharp
Yeah, that could show some real contrast.
shape, yeah.
You'll also notice that she's not taking her design into the green, that she is taking it up to the edge of the green. Some of you may want to continue it through the other side of the green, like she's doing right there. That one shape is actually going underneath the green, so she's incorporating that into her design, but it is not going over the top. So that's one thing we have to remember, is the green is actually a mystery phrase. So this is actually the funnest part, I think, where you can just spontaneously create something. As she's doing this, she's thinking of the elements of design, which we will talk about throughout this video. Repetition, So here she's repeating the same shape. This helps in balance. Okay, so that's basically what you start with, is you're going to draw your design. And as you're doing it, you're thinking about what colors and what type of brush strokes you're going to use and what kind of lines you're going to use. Maybe use a paint pen to create some thinner lines. So we will stop here.
This leads us to the next element of art, which is shape. Shape is an element of art that is two-dimensional, flat, or limited to height and width. What's this mean? Basically, it's simply a space defined by color or line. Shapes make up what we see. They're everywhere. If you look at everything two-dimensionally or flat, you can distinguish all kinds of shapes. In your design, remember nothing can come from the real world, so your shapes can be round, square, oval, but they cannot be something. Shapes can be geometric or organic, and you may personally like geometric over organic or vice versa. This is when your own style starts to come out. Now let's talk about color. Color's fun.
So the next thing we're going to get into is actually the painting. We have given you guys the primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, and black and white. We also have a plate. If you guys don't have a plate, you can use one of your old plates and just clean it off as needed. We're going to talk about primary colors, which we're just showing you right now. And then we'll talk about the secondary colors that you'll get when you're blending the colors. So if you blend yellow and blue, you're going to get green. If you blend yellow and red, you're going to get orange. And if you blend red and blue, you're going to get purple. So Tracy will do a little bit of that. I'm going to show you how she's going to blend. And then we can talk about the color and how the colors react to each other later too. So she's got a cup of water. She's got a brush. She's looking at what she's going to start with.
Do you want me to demonstrate some color mixing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can demonstrate, like whatever colors you're thinking you're going to use. And you can actually purposely blend just for us.
Yes. Okay. I'm wondering if I should get two separate brushes just to do this.
Here. Those are the
If you've never blended colors before, you have to realize that if it's a purposeful thing, you have to blend with intention. So if you're going to dip your paint brush into blue, you don't want to go and stick a blue paintbrush into the yellow. You want to get a different paintbrush and pull that over, and then you'll see that she's got two different paintbrushes and she's actually mixing with one of them. She has a cup of water, so when she's ready to dip into another color, she can rinse her brush out and keep it clean. So inevitably, you will get a little bit of color in your paints.
Here's a purple, yeah.
So the big thing is that when you put your brushes in the paint, just make sure they're relatively clean. If you mixed all these colors together, you'd end up getting a very dark blackish brown. So, and sometimes you might want brown. So brown, if you mixed yellow, blue, and red together, you'll end up with brown.
Yeah, if I were to...
That would be a tertiary color.
Yeah. Now we're getting into the deeps.
Yeah, the deep color.
There's a nice brown.
Yeah.
It's like a tan.
Yeah. So she's mixed all of the colors together and now she's getting brown. So, but for this lesson, we're trying to keep it simple so that everybody feels comfortable. And we'll go from there. There's a lot of white space that you need to think about. So you can leave white space if you want, or you can fill the whole thing in with color. You have till June 27th to finish your piece. So you should be able to work on it for a few days. And sometimes it's good to work on a piece, let it dry, and then go back. You might see something different. And it's also like if you let it dry, you can paint over the color easier. Sometimes if you're painting over wet paint, it will blend into a different color as well. And that can be done purposely. So we'll let Tracy go ahead and paint a little bit, and then we'll come back. So just a quick reminder, as you're working with your colors, you're going to end up with your mixing tray. Here's another one here. You can throw that out and start over. As you paint, though, it's real important to dip your paint brush in the water and have a rag available so that you can really clean it off, so that when you stick your paintbrush back in another color, you're not taking and adding blue to that color or adding red. There's a little bit of red to that, but that's not going to make a big difference. But you want to keep your original paints as clean as you can. Do most of the mixing on the plate, and then use water, which this water is going to need to be cleaned. Use water and a rag to clean out your brush before you dip it in the paint.
Color is an element of art made up of three properties: hue, value, and intensity. What is hue? That's the name of the color. There are so many colors, it's really unbelievable. Did you know that black and white are technically not colors, they're shades? This helps explain value. A color or hue is lightened or darkened by black or white. This changes the color value. Intensity in color can be bright or dull. You can imagine how just by changing the intensity of a color, you could change the way someone was feeling when they viewed your piece. Again, this is a personal preference. Some people love paintings that are subtle, and others love real bright paintings. Which would you rather paint, subtle or bright? We have included a color wheel with your kit. Check it out. There are three primary colors: red, blue, and yellow. You've been given a tub of each. With these, you can create secondary colors, such as green, which is blue and yellow mixed, orange, which is red and yellow mixed, and purple, which is red and blue mixed. Can you find them on the color wheel? It's fun to play with the different colors. Complementary colors are across from each other on the color wheel. When put side by side, they vibrate. Let's go to space. No, not outer space. The spaces you're creating within your design. Space is an element of art by which positive and negative areas are defined, or a sense of depth achieved in a work of art. So when you're looking at a painting, does it feel like you can reach inside the design? This is a bit more complicated to accomplish if you're a beginner, but it's really fun. Creating positive and negative space is one way. Check out Red Spot by Kandinsky, the pioneer of abstract art. The use of positive and negative space creates a sense of space. Black takes your eye back into nothing, and the white negative space pushes the other shapes forward, again creating space behind the red dot. Overlapping can create space as well. Angled lines are another element that can create a sense of space. So have fun creating space. Give it a try. The last element of art we will try out is texture. Texture is an element of art that refers to the way things feel or look as if they might be touched. We are talking about creating the illusion of texture. Painting texture is really about mark making. The illusion of texture is created through a frequent alternation between light and dark marks. It's time to pull out the paint pens and have some fun.
Here we're demonstrating the use of the paint pens. The paint pens are going to help add texture. So as soon as your piece is dry, you can go back in with the paint pen and add little bits of texture any way you want. You can dot, you can do swirlies, you can do lines, you can accentuate things with line. The paint pen is it's basically a pen with a filament on the end that when you press it, the paint comes down into that filament. If you press it really hard, it'll come out faster. If you press it softer, it'll come out slower. So when you start out, you might want to just kind of practice on a piece of paper or something before you actually use it, and that will allow you to understand how the paint flows. Sometimes it's easy to get a big blob, but maybe you want a big blob. So this is how you can go in and add some real fun texture to your piece.